So as we go, I suppose we can do this as the introductory. Introduce your character and what you're all about, what your motto is, if we're all ready.
I'm ready.
Ready?
So how about Griff? Let's start with you.
All right. I'm playing Tamra Jin, a spider minister and the local mayor of the village of Yuchin. She's a
Cool.
very quiet, reserved type who lucked into mayor once her mother became ill.
Okay.
Serious.
And what is your gimme goal?
My gimme goal is to make the village safer.
Ah, good one to have. And how about you, Storm?
I am playing as Xinglo Po, a weasel vagrant warrior, particularly specializing in rope weapons. My motto is, it's not that the well is too deep, it's that the rope is too short. And I realize there's a typo. I'll fix that very quickly. But I'm a sly, weaselly little weasel. And my goal is to get paid.
Good one to have. And how about you, Bane?
I am playing Julong, Dragon Elementalist. My personality is impetuous. My motto is I am dangerous. And my gimme goal is find a way to show off my power.
Sounds good. And last but not least, we've got you, Tor.
I am playing New Wei, the Tiger Slaver, whom is an arrogant braggart, whose motto is I can move mountains, and his current gimme goal is to join a new crew.
Okay, so sounds like we got a nice little variety of folks here. So as far as before we start, since this is Zhangguo, if I'm pronouncing it right, caste is also important. So have you determined what your caste is?
Go ahead and lay out the options for us.
Sure. So there are 5 castes in the Middle Kingdom. The first is the soldier types, the warrior caste. Second is, I guess, what you could call the literate ones, or the literati, the people who know how to make laws and read languages and that sort of thing. Third one is the craftsmen, and they, of course, build and make things. Fourth is the farmer class, and speaks for itself. And the last one is the merchant class. So I think I said those in correct order. But yeah, the merchants.
Warriors at the top, merchants at the bottom.
Yep, merchants are actually seen at the bottom because they don't actually create anything. They just move things around. So.
Well, I mean, I'd have to be literati.
Of the literate class. Well, not necessarily. You could be somebody who just happens to be pretty ambitious and does their own thing.
Well, I mean, specifically, I believe I was sent off to become literati, trained and taught, and I'm on my way back now. Or I have just returned.
Okay.
Whereas for the spider mayor, it definitely makes most sense to be the literati, where I simply know things and I manage the businesses and such.
Okay. Makes sense to me. And as a magistrate, that you're technically nobility, so that makes sense.
Indeed I am. And I have authority, look out.
That's right. What about you, Tor?
I would probably fit into the warrior caste, but specifically probably closest to the mercenaries within that.
Okay.
And I think I'll go with being of the farmer caste, but aspiring to be recognized as a warrior.
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah, it does play into the world a little bit, so I figured I would just ask. Um, but yes, we are in the Yen province, so it's the further most north, I guess, and that is where the trade ships come in from outside of the Middle Kingdom. They so the Calabrese in the storyline in the setting, they used to sail as far west as they could go, but they would reach the mainland, and so the emperor at the time said, "No, that's bad. We don't want these weirdos coming into our territory so readily." So they made a specific kind of like I guess march, and this is the furthest north kingdom that is a part of it, and it was, I wouldn't say recently conquered, but there were barbarian kingdoms here. It is mountainous in the interiors, and leopards are native here too. But most of the major trade ships come in. If you look on the three islands there, the biggest one has a trade port kind of near to the bottom right, and that's where every ship coming in has to register. Well, as it turns out, the city that we're in is very close to it, and it can also be a stopping off point before you get to the register city there. So it tends to be, it's definitely a trade city, but it's also naturally a good place for smugglers. So, but as I kind of outlined in the beginning materials, the city has seen better days. The nobility of the city, let me quick just get the name here. Okay, so the city's Rolzang. It's there, but it's run by Yan Clan Zhu, the monkey viscount here, and he's also known as the one who's refined. But yes, he is a little bit lazy. His family is a little bit decadent, and the real person who runs the trade city of Rolzang is Minister Kong, and that's kind of common knowledge. He is a bear slaver, and yes, out of the various criminal elements, he's probably the most powerful. So, your little town is a farming village, I guess you could say, that's seen better days. A lot of the people who lived there kind of got pulled into the city to do the construction projects and things like that, but it's been going very, very slowly. The corruption is pretty bad. It's kind of an open secret too that the Minister Kong's middle level members, that's what I wanted to say, of his organization are connected to or outright city officials. So there's a lot of there's people skimming off the top and whatnot. So it's, these projects are lasting way too long. The people are stuck kind of as urban poor, waiting for labor orders to come in since they're not using their craftsmen, and it's just generally not a happy place. But
Whereabouts would the village be?
so if you follow the river, it's probably about halfway up. So it kind of zigs out to the left there and then kind of follows back. If you follow it a little bit north, where that second zig out to the left is, that's kind of where we are. So if you keep following the river north, it's going to hit the mountains where the snows melt and it goes down. But probably within a couple days journey before you get there. So
Okay.
Yep.
Probably put a little dot there later, I suppose.
Sure, let me just quick check the map. I'm on push to talk, so I have to. Okay, so I kind of made a little blue square on there as to where it is. But yeah, as far as the atmosphere goes, the town has certainly seen better days. It's maybe only half populated, so there's a number of fields that are laying fallow. The local bridge there, kind of over the river, is one of the main areas where money gets collected by travelers. but out in the countryside, specifically with this region, if you'll notice there it says the Bai Guang Wall. That's sort of a wall that was built to prevent invasion from Calabria. So one of the emperors believed that these outside foreigners might come in and invade us, as well as kind of this area was sort of more of a wild area. It was its own barbarian kingdom. And so when the kingdom was taken over, they built that wall as kind of a defensive measure.
Sort of a fallback position.
Yeah, with forts along the wall that can house 500 people. So, but since then, that was probably a couple centuries ago, and it's kind of in not so great shape. A lot of those fortresses are used by bandits, or they're haunted. Kind of similar situation here, where there's forts and like redoubts kind of all over this island too, and you do find wandering nomads and brigands and bandits and fishermen of even just holding on to it. So yeah, the Maginot Line. But is there any kind of questions or kind of accounting or bookkeeping or things that we should do before we get started?
I don't have anything.
I think I'm sorted as far as things go. Aside from maybe asking, like, what kind of home I might have in the village, but that's
Okay.
more background, I suppose.
Well, sure. I mean, as somebody who's a member of the nobility, yeah, you're a noble, but you're sort of the rustic low rent variety. You've probably got
The best house in the
manor
village,
house of
but
sorts.
shamed by any home in, like, Rolziang.
Right. It's it's you've probably got a small little manor house that has maybe 20 servants tops. It's certainly kind of got that pagoda style to it, but it's more of a house and less of a mansion.
Right. It fits like a small immediate family of these spiders that live here.
Oh, sure. I'm certain you've got your own extended family potentially that would be living there, but it's not very big.
Oh, yeah.
Probably members of your family do, might even help with the harvest or whatnot.
And I guess of secondary note, what kind of protections would the village normally have? Is everyone just sort of like conscripted every now and then, or are there like standby guards and toll keepers already on the payroll?
Well, in the warrior class, you do kind of have like your regular soldiers. There's like your elites, and then you're just your regular, almost militia or irregular warriors. Irregular is actually a career, but
Right.
yeah, they're probably part-time soldiers who drill, but most of the time they're farmers or even craftspeople who just put together very
Alright, you guys,
limited
harvest is over.
industries.
Time for a couple drills. Get on the bridge.
Exactly. So you've probably got, since you're the mayor and things have kind of gotten a little bit more dangerous, you've probably tried to rely on more people to protect and patrol the road. But it's thinking a little bit even of like Detroit, where half the town is uninhabited. So
Half the town's uninhabited, everyone's spread thin, and if too many people are guarding instead of working, it's just all gonna collapse.
exactly. So generally speaking, this far out, there probably aren't too many silk. Like they've got mulberry trees where the silkworms are. So you've probably got maybe like a small little stand of those that you probably, your own servants are working with. But mostly people are just trying to farm to meet the taxes and keep their families fed.
Of course. Okay.
So, as for Zhulong, you said you were kind of you had gone away to Calabria to learn. You went to Dunwasser Academy, essentially.
Yes.
So, is your family based out of Rujiang, or are they somewhere else, or?
Yes, they are. Well, without any specifics to work on, which I guess is what I would then ask you now as clarification. I had imagined myself as something of a rebellious son to someone important. And
Okay.
I was sent off not only to, get my learning done, as it were, but, to also get me out of the picture to stop embarrassing the family.
Okay. But they're not necessarily from the state of Yen.
I had imagined they were, but if that's problematic, I can work around that.
Whichever you'd prefer.
Sure, state again.
Okay.
So my
So-
intent is to be coming home or having just gotten home.
Okay. Okay. So the gears are turning, and okay. So the first sort of, I guess, thing to happen is you as the mayor. I'm sorry. Let's go by the names here. What's your character's name there?
Ironically, he literally just said, "Be right back."
Oh shoot. Okay. Sorry. That's okay.
I think it's Tamra Jin because he has that on his Roll20. Maybe.
Okay.
Also, Storm, that's a very vagrant weasel.
Okay. I'll have to grab that.
He's very scruffy looking.
Good, as he should be.
Yeah. He looks like he's up to no good.
As he should be.
I guess he could be hurting nerfs.
Hurting nerfs. Actually, probably something similar because weasels are carnivores, so he's from a farmer family. It would be more of a ranch, assumedly. So maybe he herds nerfs. Or whatever sort of lizards we eat.
Alright, Griff is back. Or I'm sorry, Tamara Jin is back.
Okay. Just getting the ownership of your tokens here.
Okay, doke.
How do you change your display name in Roll20? It's been a minute.
Upper right hand corner, there's the gear icon, and there should be a text box. You just type into there and hit save.
Very easy.
Okay, so I'm gonna just copy your tokens over to another map here, and we'll see if this works. So, sorry for the long periods of silence here, but it's a little tricky. So, 1 second.
To do the setup.
Yeah, no worries.
Wahaha! I am elevated. I am above you all.
I have no idea what's going down there on the bottom of the map. I'm keeping it all up focused on the map of the state of Yen, so that the stream sees the state of Yen.
Aha, I'm even taller now.
Is that why you then renamed yourself I Rise Above?
Just had to elevate myself a little.
Yes, of course, that's what Tamara Jin stands for. She who rises above.
Almost there.
Just never look up what my name stands for.
Lu Wei. Oh, sorry. Sheng Lu Pao. Po. Sheng Lu Po.
Yes. The hint is it might have to do with rope.
Doing a quick look, Tamra Jin would mean that I know about gold.
I guess it all depends on what site you go to for meeting?
Oh, for mine, that might be hard because there's some accent marks that were lost along the way because when I put them on my character sheet, my name died and became a bunch of gobbledygook, and so I just decided to leave them off.
Okay, I moved us over to the farms. You might have to zoom out a little bit. I'm still trying to get the proportions right here.
Yeah, because looking it up, it goes right to hulubo, which means carrot.
Which is also a fine name.
Farmer.
I used to be Wu Jing, which was turnip.
That character was great. He made silk clothes with the giant turnip in it.
That was his greatest accomplishment. He was
Yes.
And he wasn't going to even be a fool. It was just because he thought it was fun.
Sorry, are
It was
those
his idea of high fashion.
Does that make sense there in terms of proportion there, Bane?
Well, we're at 2 meters now, which means half speed. So if that's what you want.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this is kind of just trying to lay it out. I mean, we can shrink them down even further, but
Right, I mean, I don't even know if you want this to be a combat map. I'm just...
no.
Yeah,
I do have one of those, but
Yeah, I'm just throwing out there that the current measure is half speed, if speed ever becomes a thing that we need to keep track of.
okay. So if you needed to change you need to make it larger then?
Either make the tokens smaller, or yeah, I guess we could increase the size to 2 equals 1. Or I'm sorry, 1 equals 2. I'm not sure about that one. Also, changing the size of the map typically refreshes everybody's connection to the map, so...
Okay. Okay. I just changed the scale a little bit. But anyway, so there is so let's say here,
Alright, now it's 1/3. Went the wrong way on that one.
ah!
Here, I got an idea.
Anyway, yeah, I guess just for now.
Alright, there you go. That's closer to right. I just changed it to 0.5 equals 1.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so Tamra Jin, you are the mayor of this little town, and one afternoon you are in your little mayor's office, and as far as the group itself, for the sake of levity, I can say the reason that the group of you guys work together is that you've got these 3 other people in the town that are useful in that regard, that they can assist with odd jobs and things like that. You might come up with a better excuse as to why you're all working together, but
Well, one's a foreign trained wizard, and that's got to be as chaotic a thing to throw against opponents as we can possibly get. Another one's obviously a proven warrior, and there's no doubt about that. And I'm sure the weasel can give me something I need.
but in
Sorry,
any
just
case,
looking in for a second. I didn't miss anything, right?
no. So, but yes, Tamara, one afternoon, you have one of your locals, who is kind of affectionately known as Mother Li Ling, and she comes into your or approaches or knocks on the door in tears, saying, "Please, Mayor, please, I need some help. There's a terrible thing has happened."
Oh, dear mother, please have a seat. And I'll get up and escort her to a chair opposite the desk with a little bit of paperwork on it. And I'll just sort of reach over for like a little tea, pour a little for her, and start serving it out. It's like, please tell me what's wrong. Calm yourself first, though.
Minister, you're far too generous. You're far too generous. There's some terrible news. My twin children are have done something or are doing something. I don't know. I think they might even been kidnapped.
Oh dear, that's quite tragic. Do
Um,
you remember where you last saw them? What they were doing?
their names are Hong and Lin, and yes, they were. She's a leopard, by the way, but she says yes, they were. They should have been out in the field tending to their duties, and I swear they've fallen into a bad crowd, and they were supposed to meet back this morning for their chores, but they haven't, and they said they were running some sort of errand, but they haven't returned, and I fear they've been kidnapped. Please, you must help me.
Oh, I definitely will. I'll mobilize the few irregulars here to see if we can follow their trail. But you said they've fallen into a bad crowd.
Yeah,
Do you know them to start speaking with bandits? And she just
yeah.
like puts her like hand up to her mouth in that like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it kind of manner.
Uh, yes, and kind of that we're too polite to suggest that her children are running in with the wrong crowd, but
Oh yes,
uh,
clearly your children are absolute angels that would never have done anything wrong. How could this have befallen them?
exactly. They've not. Yes, they're perfect little angels. Exactly. So, but yes, as she says, oh, it's you know what life is like here. I'm afraid that some bad influences have come from the city, and something terrible is going to happen. And they're never like this. They usually, they're dutiful in their duties. They're good children, but I don't know what's they haven't. And I'm so terrified. She's just kind of going on and on and on.
She'll reach out one of her hands and like just put it on her shoulder and go, there. You can stay here in my home as long as you need to calm yourself, and I'll go ahead and arrange preparations. We'll find your children. I promise you that.
Oh, thank you, Minister, thank you. She says and kowtows and practically kisses your feet. You're too kind, and it's a mother's worry. And thank you.
Now,
Uh,
if you excuse me, I'll attend to business immediately then. And
oh
now
yes, of
begins the
course.
time where Tamra will go ahead and collect her irregulars, aka the party, and will also collect maybe a few of the guards on duty. Presumably, there'd be at least a couple of them in town,
Okay.
or at least
Yeah.
on schedule right now.
Well, as far as guards go, you've got a your watch is probably maybe groups of two, just so that if something happens to one of them, they can run away and get help. But they probably go out every 6 hours or so, just kind of walking along the roads.
hmm
So yeah, you can grab a patrol who's probably coming in, or you might even wait for in the evening for them for the whole group to be back, or whichever is the
Right. If they don't happen to be back like at this time, then I'll just leave a message for them to stay in the village and to simply stay alert while I'm gone.
okay. Actually, roll a d10.
Ooh, a D10.
Let's see how lucky we are.
A 2.
Okay, so you go outside and you're like, okay, so where are the guys that are supposed to? And you look around and you don't see anybody.
Well, that's
the
unfortunate.
yeah, the usual folks who are a couple dudes who are milling about or at least walking around the edge of the village do not appear to be around.
So I'll simply leave the message with one of my servants and expect them to deliver it.
Okay,
If you
so
happen to see the patrol come in, please tell them to stay alert.
oh yes, of course.
And now time to go scoop up the regular irregulars. Where would each of them be?
That's a question for the group. Where in this little town would you be?
I can probably find loitering somewhere.
Like hanging out underneath a tree, like with the coin going back over your fingers.
Yeah, turn a corner, see you like down the road underneath one of the trees, and just kind of approach you with the umbrella, just like, well, you seem to be enjoying the shade today.
I am. Is there something you need? I say with a hopeful look.
Dear mother came by, and this is referring to the affection name of that character, because I already forgot like the full name. Uh,
Motherly
She-
Ling.
Mother Li Ling, yes. She came by and it appears that 2 of her sons are missing. She's dreadfully worried, and I'll need some muscle to come with me.
You need a warrior of note, I see. Very well.
Oh
I'm not
yes,
a
you wouldn't
warrior
happen
of
to know
note,
where I could find
but-
one of those around here, would you? And he just smirks a little bit.
Well, of course. You're looking at him.
Well, let's go gather up the other 2. They must be around here somewhere. I believe I can go find Zhu Long. Maybe you can find
Shit.
And let's see, and maybe you could figure out where Lu Wei is.
Sure.
Alright, I'll see you back at my home
He's
in a short time.
tiger, kind of large.
I am
That one?
kind of large, yes. I cast a large shadow.
Hard to miss.
Oh, this is
Very-
the tree you were sitting under. It was actually him all along.
Exactly. Yeah, I would probably be found sleeping, being lazy.
Being a cat.
Hey now,
Yes.
you're a rock star.
Lu Wei is also a
Get your game
giant,
on.
is he not?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Couldn't
So
tell
like I
from the
said-
image.
Yeah, that guy, the one who has trouble fitting through doors.
Oh, I see him looming over one of the buildings over there.
Crush.
And
Doesn't he sleep in the stables?
as for Long, where would you be?
Is there a bar of any sort? Someplace where
Yes,
people get
there is
drinks?
a tea house.
I imagine Julong is probably entertaining people at the tea house. Not like he's paid to entertain people, more like he was probably like hunched over a drink and did a little bit of like move water magic, and then people like oohed and awed at him a little bit, and he was like, "Oh yeah, look at this!"
But we saw that one last week.
I'm sure, yeah, the country bumpkins are like, whoa, that's amazing. But yes, there is a little bar slash tea house. It's kind of a pathetic little. It's like a one room sort of establishment. It does have a slave there who's pretty much just supposed to mop the floors. But Zhulong, you are actually today entertaining 2 irregular guards who are blowing off work and more interested in seeing what you have to do and what sort of cheap tricks you're offering.
And so long as they're supplying me with adulation, I don't care.
Yes. They're very impressed.
Because I am impressive.
But Tamra, I'm sure, would probably come by eventually. And
She just sort of quietly walks behind the 2, waits for like a trick to be performed, and then starts clapping and waits for them to realize that she's there.
they turn around and they go, "Oh, okay, I'm sorry. We were just on our way to report back and say that there hasn't been any problems, Mayor."
Oh, that's so good. I was so worried about you when I didn't see you out there. I thought something must have happened to you.
Yes, no, it's been.
Oh, you gave me
you know
such
how
a
it is out
terrible
here.
fright, but it would do me such a great favor if you were to return to your duties, but stay within the village and stay alert.
Oh,
I'll
yes,
be
yes,
heading out
absolutely.
very
yes,
soon.
Mistress, of course. We'll certainly. Let's do that right now. And so they kind of like shamefully shuffle out.
She just sort of smiles a little bit and then turns to Julong and gives, just sort of a respectful little bow between peers. I see you've been having fun yourself.
Zhulong is gonna give Tamara a dour look and just imperceptibly move water to get the drink into his mouth. Because I imagine he was doing some sort of like little air show where the water's flowing
Sure.
around into shapes and whatnot. He's just gonna drink it right up out of the air and say, "Oh, you always spoil the mood, don't you?"
Oh, well, I'm sorry to tear away your audience from you, but I do have another two receptive individuals you can entertain. Actually, two children that have gone missing. We need to find them. Poor Mother Lee has lost them. She just sort of like hangs her head like a moment just like to show the severity of it all. We'll probably head out to her home and begin from there. There might be bandits involved. And I figured perhaps the most powerful wizard in the village could, come and help.
You always know how to get on my good side.
She simply smiles and nods at that, but says nothing to, destroy her humility.
Yes.
Being of noble birth.
Yes, of course. Lead the way.
Alright. And everyone reconvenes.
So,
Back.
so of course, you know where Mother Li Ling lives. She has a small little, I wouldn't call it hovel, but probably something along those lines. She has a family of 8, and her 6 other children are busy diligently at work. She herself is in her, probably since it's, around midday or so, is preparing some sort of stew or porridge for them for lunch. But she's obviously agitated, but feel free to move around the map. But yeah, she's in their little hut. Is anybody planning on questioning? Do you want to look for clues or anything like that?
Yeah, this would be the time where we figure out what abilities do we have to figure this out with.
Okay. Well, if you want to do a searching check, either out in the fields, you can certainly do that. You can, if anybody has inquiry or even gossip, that might work too. If you want to talk to the mom or the children, or if you can think of anything else that might help. Don't everybody talk at once.
Well, no,
Oh,
I'm just
yeah.
thinking observation to check for disturbance. I mean,
Yeah, just sort of look around inside of her in the hut.
that or see if I
Or
can
outside,
find
or-
small people tracks and see where they go.
Oh, is
Okay.
that more searching?
Yeah, I guess that's the problem there. Yeah, you're right.
I will gossip around town and just talk to people, see if anyone has seen the children or anything.
Okay, sure, go for it.
So mind and gossip, correct?
Yep.
It's been a while since I've done this.
So it'll be /roll, and then you add your D whatever, plus D whatever. And is anybody else doing anything, or?
What are the
I'm
children
trying to think.
doing?
So the 6 other children are ages varying from like mid-teens to maybe 6 or 7, and they are in the little fields and just like weeding and farm work stuff that you recognize.
I have a
Uh,
single success.
Okay, so from gossiping, you learn that the 2 children. Let me quick grab the info here. 1 sec. Okay, so the two kids are Hong and Lin. It's actually a boy and a girl. You know them. They're twins, so they're 13 years old. Kind of in that rapscallion stage a little bit. But they're good kids. Their father, as it's common knowledge, like many are, is called into the city, so they're trying the best that they can to keep the farm going. But as for trying to actually find them, nobody's really seen them.
Well, that's no good.
But yes, on the general gossip, though. There's a lot of talk about just how gangs are operating in the area. Uh, do you, by happenstance, have the gift of streetwise?
Indeed, I do.
You may roll that d12 if you want to maybe inquire along the criminal name.
I totally could. Is that, again, just a gossip roll, but with Streetwise added?
Yeah, so we'll take your one success and we'll add that if you succeed again.
Another success.
Okay, so for two successes, you ask the regular, like, commoner folk, the peasants who have their leather mugs and do their whatever. They give you one solution, but you have kind of maybe some of the shadier characters around town, or the guy that is willing to sell things off that might have been stolen, or things like that. Yeah, it sounds like there's a couple gangs that are recruiting, actually, and the two of the twins. Yeah, it looks like they might starting to fall into either a couple of the potential options. They might have started, they might have been around hanging out with this group while they, like made off with somebody's livestock or something like that, and were lookouts or something small. But yeah, they, at least with one of the groups around town.
So they were hanging out with one of the gangs that operates in the area.
Yeah, he thinks so. He's not sure.
Well, it's at least something to go on, a rumor as it were, but what's the rest of the crew doing?
I'm going to talk to the children.
And
tell
Tamara
them
will be there
tales
to assist you.
of my exploits. Don't be so sure you want to assist me. I'm going to be lying to the children.
Funnily enough, I'll be better at helping you lie to the children than I will be actually asking them questions.
Good. Then we've learned the honesty level of our party.
So which of the ones are you going to ask? The oldest, the youngest?
I'm going to stick to kind of the younger ones because they'd be more impressed by my status as a great warrior.
Okay.
And also more gullible.
Okay, that's also an option.
Great warrior.
Sorry, I had to click back to the chat. Okay, so for me, this will just be a roll of mind and deceit, but I guess the spider will be helping. So, you'd roll first.
Yep, let me just cue that up here. A single success. Take your D8.
All right. Well, I'm a very good liar, as it turns out.
Wow. Okay, so 3 successes. So what exactly do you try to tell the youngster?
I try and sell them on the fact that I am a great warrior and will bring their siblings back safe and sound.
So
they have not to worry about.
So you make up some like nonsense about like, oh, I felled 1,000 bad guys with swords, and yeah, you've.
It's true. I saw him do it myself.
Exactly. I've seen him. It was amazing. And so this maybe about 7 or 8 just sort of looks at you with these giant eyes, like, "Whoa, really? That's amazing." Uh, what did you ask him?
Just if there's anything he can do to point me to where his siblings would be if I'd ask any questions.
Well, he kind of thinks about it, and he pauses for a minute and makes it like he wants to speak, but then kind of stops, like, "Oh, I shouldn't." But then he kind of, "But I can trust you, right? You're a big, strong guy that's gonna help, right?"
I am.
Okay, but don't say it, otherwise I'll get beaten up. But he says, "Yeah, they went out with those those nasty looking leopards, and they took something, and I wasn't supposed to say anything, but they left this morning, and when they come back tonight, they'll give me a cookie or something, but I can't say anything else."
It's all right. We never tell them what you told us. But which direction did you say they went again?
He kind of stopped. I was like, "I don't know."
I guess then we have to rely on our own knowledge of the area. Do we know of gangs of leopards and where
Well,
they
in
may
fact, we
be?
do have local knowledge, as a thing all of us have. Hooray.
And I imagine as a local mine would be for our town.
Yes.
I would like to. I guess I'll let Spider lead on this because it'd probably be local knowledge and academics, or what would it be
Well,
to know about gangs? I guess maybe local knowledge and streetwise specifically.
streetwise would work too. Yeah.
If it's just local knowledge, this is just going to be the 1d12 with mind and academics, I assume.
Sure.
Okay. Let's see
And
what
I
I
will
have,
assist.
though. Alright, let's see what your resist is, and if I get the extra d8.
You do get an assist from me. From I didn't even. Oh,
Aha,
never
and that
mind. I
bumps me up to
forgot.
3.
Well, you didn't need my mind. You just needed that I'm a local.
Okay. Not bad. So, you just since you're a good magistrate and keeping track of things, and you do know that this used to be a former leopard nation a couple hundred years ago, and so there is a group that calls itself the Fire Strike Gang, who go about they fancy themselves probably more important than they actually are, but yeah, kind of a
Inheritors of the old empire and all of that.
right, like kind of that, like the good old boys who are like, "Oh yeah, they've got the Confederate flag on their truck," sort of thing.
Oh no.
So yeah, they're kind of just a bunch of losers that are toughs and whatnot.
But we do know where they are, don't we?
Well, as far as their gang hideout goes, potentially it's probably somewhere uh, out in either the fields or in yeah. You'd have to do some more searching for it, but you're pretty certain based upon what the kids said that it meets their descriptions.
Alright. Well, I think we've narrowed down on where they might be, especially if we reconvene and share information.
Okay. And Zhulong, are you doing anything specific?
I guess I'm gonna figure out if it's gonna rain today or not.
Do you go inside the hut at all, or?
I mean, the only things I'm really gonna find out are things I would be able to see just on the base of it.
Okay,
So,
well, make a mind observation roll then.
Let's see, what do I need? 2d84.
Also, I imagine since it's specifically for rain weather sense, the
Well, yeah.
oft ignored skill.
I know nothing.
Okay, yeah. You kind of walk around the hut looking at it and try to, but yeah, nothing comes to mind.
Yep, this is a poor person's hut.
Exactly. Bunch of peasants who remind you similar to what they are in the rest of the world. Just poor peasants.
You feel fairly confident it's not going to rain inside the hut.
Exactly.
I don't know. Thatch roof with a bunch of holes in it. It's probably going to rain in this hut too.
So, how about you? Anything else you want to do there, Lu Wei?
Well, see, my gossiping probably takes quite a while. But if the others tell me about said leopard gang,
Indeed.
do I know anything about said gang potentially?
He
Well-
has the bonus of streetwise.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So-
Do a mind and streetwise. You might be able to get some extra information there.
No successes. Nope, I
Yeah.
have no idea who they are.
It's your
I am, after all, from the city.
Exactly. They're maybe a little too regional for you.
But I do know, the local fence, as it were, or fixer. We could ask him questions about said gang.
Okay, that's not a bad idea.
Would you like us to come with you, or is that something you'd prefer to handle yourself? Well, I suppose I shouldn't be seen doing such things.
It would be beneath your station.
Indeed. Instead, I will prepare for the inevitable excursion we'll take.
Excellent. I will drag the weasel with me. The
I'll-
great warrior.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
we will, get ourselves informed at the local feds. The man of ill repute about what he knows about a gang of leopards in this area.
Okay, so you've got his name is Daquan. He is an ox craftsman, I guess you could say. But yes, you know him at least. People on the street kind of have a certain air about him, and you've come to know him a little bit. But Daquan has been fairly reliable. Do you just want to ask him about the game?
Yeah,
The game?
I just want to ask him if he knows a gang of leopards and where they operate.
He says, kind of looks at you, says, maybe. What's it worth?
Ah,
How are you going to convince me to give that information?
that is a good one. Now, I could convince him with money, or I could convince him that I would inflict bodily harm onto him if he does not answer my question.
Okay, well, that sounds to me like a presence roll.
I think I will go with presence roll, indeed.
Okay.
Let's see. Skill. So, I also get to roll my species with that. Excellent. So, presence roll is what again? It was body, will, and
Body,
presence?
will, and presence.
Okay, so body, will, and presence.
I'll leave the intimidation to the giant.
If you are, in fact, using your size, you can add that as a d12.
I am indeed using my size and flexing those great big muscles. What was that? A bonus d12?
Yep.
Okay. Let me see what else was there. My species goes into that. And I also have the some skill points in presence, so I roll 1, 2, 3, 4 successes. I think
So-
I'm suitably scary.
Yeah, you terrify the hell out of him. He's just sort of like this. Whoa! Enough! Yeah, there's no need to get upset. No need to get violent. We've got. Sorry, there was just a. But yeah, we've got some dealings in the past with them. They do their own thing. I try not to ask questions, but well, I guess they have an interest in. Well, he kind of looks up against the tiger. Let's just say they have exotic tastes. Okay, so both Tor and Storm walked out. But while that is going on, Tamra and Zhulong. Is there anything else
Yes.
you want to be doing, or?
I'm returning to my estate for just a moment to go ahead and get my mountain scale armor and my Pavi's shield.
Okay, so
It's
you're
undoubtedly there might be some violence in store in the future.
I assume I'm just probably going to be standing outside of their residence, like leaning up against the wall nearest the door.
Oh no, you're invited in. You're a friend and a welcome guest.
Right, but
Plus, I
you...
need someone to complain to while I dress. Oh, this. And she'll
Also-
just like lay out like completely mundane complaints to you and just force you to listen to her for a while.
Sure, that I imagine, and maybe not outside of the building, but like you have one of those folding wall things that you're changing behind, things are being thrown about. You're deciding what color to wear today. And I'm just on the other side of a doorway, leaned back against that, facing opposite.
Yes, if blood gets on it, the red sash will definitely work much better with the armor this time around.
Alternatively, you could wear the brown in case you shit yourself again.
Now, no need to be so low class.
Worse. By the way, Tamra, did you do any sort of observation around the hut or the fields or any of that when you were over at Motherly Ling's hovel?
I did not myself because I am not good at observation. I left that to people with fewer than 8 eyes.
Do.
Ew.
I also am not good at observation.
Oh, okay. You're back, Storm. So
Yes, sir. I had to go at the door.
that's okay. So the intimidation roll passed pretty well, and the ox tells you that, well, to put it this way, yeah, I know them. I deal with them, and they have, shall we say, exotic tastes.
So they're kinky.
He's a little ambiguous as to what he means by that, but is there anything else you want to go for?
What did Toral ask him?
Basically, just if you knew if you knew them or if you dealt with them, and since
Where
you
can they
got,
be found?
I'm not quite sure. I think they're probably out up a little bit further upriver. I know they like to stay to the mountains because they have friends up there, I guess. But yeah, you might look for them there.
It's a lead. Is Tor there?
Tor is almost here. But yes, essentially, Tor, they explain that the guy does know who they are. They have a odd tastes or eccentric tastes or exotic tastes or whatever, and he thinks they might be somewhere upriver, closer into the mountains.
Excellent. I will be more than willing to go look for them. It's an expedition into the mountains. Would this require cold weather stuff, I wonder, or are these mountains not that high?
Well, the further inland you get, definitely. they'll be higher, kind of maybe a little bit of snow capped. This is an island though, so maybe not, but certainly further up the river, it does get kind of more rugged, but not snowy or cold.